Hey gang, what's good? Welcome to another Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer character class overview and build guide. In this video, we're looking at perhaps my favorite class of all, the Asari Adept. As I always do, I got my Asari Adept to level 20 and rank 10. I cleared out several gold difficulty missions using this build, and she performed remarkably. In all of the matches, including the on-screen footage, I did not use any temporary booster items whatsoever. Anyways, the Asari Adept is fast, powerful, and offers a very high risk-reward playstyle with this build specifically. Get up close and personal with her enemies for annihilation to take effect, and start unloading lance attacks. For her loadout, I recommend weapons with fast reload speeds to help you finish off enemies quickly if you need to, and move on. Consider weapons like the Sidewinder handgun, or remnant weapons that you don't have to reload at all. For her equipment, obviously, you'll want to get the Adaptive War Amp to get more out of this biotic power-focused character. Let's move on to the talents. First is Throw, and you'll see that I didn't invest any points in it at all. It's useful in a pinch as a backup power for either added damage or crowd control, but will be more focused on using Lance, as we'll cover in a bit. Before that though, let's start from the top and look at the talents we do go with. Annihilation is an amazing power that's going to allow us to score non-stop combos. You should always have this power toggled on. At rank 4 we go with Radius. We can ignore recharge penalties thanks to the choices we'll make later on with Lance. At rank 5 we take Damage Attractor. We already will be one-shotting many enemies with this build, but this lets the collateral damage pile up from combo blasts and annihilation's damage over time. At rank 6, we grab Draining Field. This is a necessity for this build. Mind you that even kills with your guns or from allies trigger this effect. Now let's move on to Lance, which is probably among the best powers in the game. Mind you that Lance's projectile follows a straight line of trajectory and cannot arc or lock on like most other projectile powers. Anyways, we take Damage and Force at rank 4 to get more damage out of it. At rank 5, we take Focus Blast. So, with better aim, Lance pays even bigger dividends. Mind you, Lance's projectile is bigger than most weapons, so it's easier to land headshots or weak point shots. Finally, at rank 6, we grab Shield Powered. This makes Lance completely insane when used in tandem with Annihilation. It's worth noting that you don't need 45% of your shielding to fire this off. So long as you have at least some level of shielding available, this power will consume it and fire off. Next, we come to our passive abilities that synergize amazingly well with our powers. We're going to use Offensive Biotics to further amp up our Lance damage. So at rank 4, we're going to opt for Power Enhancement. At rank 5, we pick up Combo Detonation. Now before 1.06, Exposure was arguably better for damage, but with the increases to combo damage across the board in multiplayer, this option reigns supreme for our purposes. Lastly, at rank 6, we pick up Biotic Expert. I don't believe this works with 100% uptime in tandem with Annihilation being a toggled power, but in situations where we're spamming lances at multiple targets, things get crazy good. Last on the list is Barrier. This is going to help us with our survivability to a degree, but because Lance uses a percentage of our max shields, any talents that also increase max shields by a percentage are less effective. Because of this, at rank 4 we opt for Recuperative Barrier. At rank 5, it's more up to your own personal choice, as neither really work perfectly well for us. Originally, I personally used Barrier Drain and tried to get to melee targets if I needed shields to use for Lance. But often I found I could also just quickly kill an enemy within Annihilation's field, using my weapons or throw if it was off cooldown. This would of course trigger Annihilation's effect and net me a little extra shielding. Biotic Link, as we said, has limited use. At best, it decreases the chance that enemies are going to be able to fully deplete our shields, leaving us without fuel for our lances. To help with our shields being fully depleted, we grab Saving Barrier at rank 6. It adds a ton of survivability to our character. On the surface, Active Barrier seems great and maybe like the better option, but the added 10% just isn't necessary what with how Lance works. Not to mention, it doesn't trigger off of weapon kills or kills by allies, whereas Annihilation's restorative effect does. Well, that ought to do it. Thank you for checking out this brief character class guide for the Asari Adept. She's an extremely fun class to play. Be sure to check out my other Andromeda multiplayer guides too. I've also got an Insanity difficulty playthrough going of the single-player campaign. Check it out if you're into that kind of thing. Thanks again, and peace.